There was another arrest today based on revelations in the Epstein files, and that arrest was, of course, not in the United States of America. It was in the country whose legal system was the model the founders used to create our legal system. It was in the United Kingdom, where the king's little brother was arrested last week. Today, British police arrested Peter Mandelson, the former British ambassador to the United States, for suspicion of misconduct in public office involving Jeffrey Epstein. The Associated Press reports both men are suspected of improperly passing UK government information to the disgraced US financier. Prime Minister Keir Starmer fired Mandelson in September after emails were published showing that he maintained a friendship with Epstein after the financier's 2008 conviction for sex offenses involving a minor. Peter Mandelson has denied any wrongdoing. Not only is no one being arrested in the United States for involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, but Donald Trump has been publicly considering a pardon for his old friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of being Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator in sex trafficking. Our next guest, Congressman James Walkinshaw, said this after Ghislaine Maxwell refused to answer questions in an under oath deposition with the House Oversight Committee.
What we did get was another episode in her long-running campaign for clemency from President Trump. And President Trump could end that today. He could rule out clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster. He could rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster. The question for all of us today is, why hasn't he done that, and why won't he do that?
Congressman Walkinshaw has invited Epstein survivor Jess Michaels to tomorrow night's State of the Union address as his guest. In a statement, Jess Michaels said, quote, "For far too long, truth has been buried, survivors have been silenced, and powerful people have been protected. And I can't help but wonder, does our government belong to the American people or to those who prey on them?" Joining us now is Epstein survivor Jess Michaels. She met Jeffrey Epstein when she was 22 years old. Also with us, Democratic Congressman James Walkinshaw from Virginia. He's a member of the Oversight and Homeland Security Committees. Jess Michaels, let me begin with you. What would you hope to hear in the State of the Union address tomorrow night?
Well, we're still waiting for the full release of the files. So what I would love, firstly, is to even be acknowledged that survivors exist. What we haven't heard from this president is that we actually exist. We've been called a hoax. I would love to hear that there's a recognition that justice hasn't been served and that there are going to be immediate sweeping investigations and arrests.
Congressman Walkinshaw, what point are you hoping to make by inviting an Epstein survivor like Jess Michaels as a guest, as other members of the House are doing with other survivors?
Well, Lawrence, I want President Trump and the American people really to see the incredible courage that Jess and her fellow survivors have demonstrated. I want them to see that courage in Jess's face and her fellow survivors' faces tomorrow night. And look, I've said, if my colleagues in Congress, Democrats and Republicans, could show just an ounce of the courage that Jess and others have shown, we could get the transparency and accountability that Jess and those survivors deserve. And I hope that message will come across loud and clear tomorrow by their presence.
Jess Michaels, as we all know, Donald Trump is an obsessive television watcher. He could be watching this at the moment, but he will surely know and be told, if he doesn't already know from his television watching, that Epstein survivors like you are in the audience in front of him. He will know you're there. So if he says nothing to you or about you, then that will obviously be a decision he makes. What would that feel like to you after a year in which the Epstein files have been so central in Washington?
Well, silence is a message, and silence is how sexual abuse and trafficking is covered up. Silence is how the corruption continues. And so silence speaks volumes.
I want to go to another point with Donald Trump, Jess Michaels, that is, he's not quite silent about it. And this is something that the congressman's been talking about, and that is the pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell. He has said in the past, I wish her well. He has said that about sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. He's never said that about you. He's never said that about any Epstein survivor. He's never said, I wish her well. What did it feel like to you to hear Donald Trump say, I wish her well to Ghislaine Maxwell?
It definitely felt like a betrayal, of course, because she's a convicted sex offender. But what I call Ghislaine Maxwell in her transfer from the maximum security prison that she's been in into the minimum security prison that she's in right now is that that's the second sweetheart deal. And it's happened in plain public sight. And he has said nothing about even that, of her being transferred, which should be illegally, to this minimum security prison. So it's devastating that predators and powerful people are getting the attention and survivors are being left behind.
Jess Michaels, why did you decide to attend the State of the Union, to accept the congressman's invitation to attend the State of the Union?
Because I want to be there as a reminder that we still have not seen the files released. Period. We haven't seen, not only have we not seen the remaining files that still have to be released, but the ones that we've received are inordinately redacted, and important information in victim statements has been covered up, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and we're there to remind him that we're not going anywhere, and the American people are behind us in this. This is a bipartisan issue, and we won't be silent, and we won't disappear.
And Congressman Walkinshaw, as you know, Donald Trump's lawyer department, or whatever we might call it, it doesn't seem to be operating as a Justice Department, is in violation of the law every day that it has not turned over the entirety of the Epstein files.
That's right. They missed the deadline to release the files. They illegally redacted portions of the files, and I went to the DOJ and saw some of those illegal redactions. And as Jess noted, they continue to cover up millions and millions of files. We're not going to stop pushing. As you know, the Oversight Committee also has an active subpoena. The Department of Justice has to turn over those documents to the Oversight Committee. We're going to continue to fight to enforce that. And I know if there happens to be a change in control of the House of Representatives next year, we're going to fight even harder to enforce that subpoena. The truth here will come out. Question is how long it will take and how long survivors like Jess have to endure these indignities from the Trump administration, from the so-called Department of Justice. The truth will get out. We will not stop until it gets out.